fighting.
Congratulations! You have found Wrestle Shoot, hosted by the Wild Thing Rob Wilds and the ladies' man Chris Casanova. Combined, we have 40 years of wrestling experience, and we're here to share those experiences, stories, and knowledge with you over the podcast airwaves. We'll be joined by friends of ours from time to time to share their stories and experiences with you as well. So climb aboard the crazy train we call Wrestle Shoot. We know how to do it, and we do it real well.
Ooh, sweet bejesus and baby bejesus. Chris, get on the right side of the line. I love that song. That song always makes the juices just flow to the old genitalia. How you doing, brother?
Man, I haven't heard that song in a long time, man. It seems like it's been months since we've been on the show.
I know. We've been gone for, 2 weeks? And if you look, we've been gone for 2 months. But we are back on another episode of Wrestle Shoot. I'm your host, the Wild Thing, Rob Wilds, joined, of course, by the lovely and talented, the man who looks so damn good in sunglasses that he had to get him one size too big. My hetero life mate, Chris Casanova.
Yay, golf clap.
Yay, welcome back, buddy.
Yeah, you too, man.
You know, I know that we got a big show lined up for today, man, and this is one that I've wanted to do for a while. We finally reached out to them, and here they are. You know how people keep calling? I got an interesting message from one of our viewers earlier. So, you know, people keep calling us the Opie and Anthony of professional wrestling podcasts. Well, she said that the guys we're having on today, if we're the Opie and Anthony, would genuinely be considered the Howard Stern. They are Long Island's #1 voted wrestling podcast. Now, let me ask you this, Chris. They say they're the #1 voted wrestling podcast. I'm sure there was some kind of a vetting process, of a voting process. I'm sure they went through some jumps to make sure to get up to where they're at, right?
Oh,
but
sure.
would it have the same impact if, like, the four of us would just vote Wrestle Shoot, Florida's #1 wrestling podcast? What do you think? Should we give it a try?
Fucking why not, man?
We'll wide open the comments in the viewer section. If you support it, Maria, thanks for joining us. If you support Wrestle Shoot being Florida's #1 pro wrestling podcast, holla if you hear me. So shall we just move on to the main event, my brother?
Might as well.
All right. So directly from Long Island, we are bringing on the
Thanks,
great.
Maria.
Okay. Yep, goodbye. Let's bring on the great duo of Monty and the Pharaoh. I wish we had an applause soundtrack right now. Gentlemen, welcome to fucking Wrestle Shoot.
Thank you, guys. It's an honor to be on your show. Finally made it. How are you?
Oh, man. Very good. Very good. Took a couple of weeks off. So, you know, before we get started, actually, if you guys don't mind, Chris, I have a question for you. It's a little bit of a random question, but, you know, me and you go back 172 and a half years, so I feel like I can get a straight answer from you. Does it bother you having too much hair?
No. Not at all.
What do you use, Chris, to take care of extra hair? Or are you still in the market? Maybe could use some advice.
I just do a standard razor, man. Keep it simple.
Well, you know what? I think that I would like to ask our new friends what they do about male hair control. Guys, I hear you may have an answer for us and what we can do to keep that unsightly extra hair under control.
Pharaoh?
No, take it away, Mike. You're the guy with all the hair.
Well, first of all, Chris, don't let anyone ever pick on you, all right? Because there's one thing about men, right? You don't want to walk around with doll head, right? It's like, you know, you're trying to grow your hair out. Meanwhile, your hair is all spread apart. You know, like when you were a kid, you used to like separate and you saw that doll head. At that point, it's like, man up, shave that shit, right? And just be a man. Man the fuck up, right? Because no one wants to walk around with fucking doll head. Right. And you know what? You could use one of our sponsors, Manscaped, and you could shave your head and look like a man. There it is. Body
Really?
cam for men.
Manscaped?
You can't beat it. And if you use the M&P code, you get a 20% discount.
Really?
And Mike, like the top of your head, that was a smooth segue. Very nice.
So I would imagine then that people should just go ahead and jump on over to manscaped.com and enter in promo M&P for what kind of a discount?
You get a 20% discount. Use the code
20%.
MANDP. That's M&P. Plug that right in. 20%. Manscaped is a wonderful, wonderful little item, and that's one of our many sponsors. We have Good Fucking Wine. We've got some hot sauce. We've got auto shops. We've got dog kennel sessions. Whatever, we take on everybody. They all want to be part of Long Island's #1 pro wrestling.
Tommy Rich sure did enjoy your Good Fucking Wine, didn't he?
Tommy Rich can drink his ass off, man, as they all can. They all can. That's one good thing when they come in studio with us, right? We feed them a little wine, let them loosen up a little bit. We have a good time. But I will be honest with you, Pharaoh and I have conducted some very, very poor interviews when we've had long days because we've pretty much polished off about how many bottles of wine, Pharaoh?
Four bottles of wine.
Within a couple hours. We're usually trashed. And at that point, we make some of the worst interviews ever. But you know what?
Yeah.
Whatever.
Like drunk and and slurring at Kevin Sullivan about how bad Hannibal sucked. Yeah, that was pretty bad. Yep, I agree. Sorry.
So
You're not a Hannibal fan.
No, not particularly. No. If I want to take a nap, I am.
Well, listen. We're not fans of many people. We are fans of the Wild Thing and Casanova, but
thank you, man.
And well, that's why we're on the show. But we get asked to come on shows all the time, and honestly, we're not trying to be arrogant, but we cannot stand the wrestling world in general. These people doing shows. First of all right, wait, I got to ask a question, right? So I watch your show religiously. And you're building a network. Is that right, Wild Thing?
That is correct, sir. The Antisocial Network. We just bought our website, antisocialnetwork.cc. That's going to be launching soon.
So did I hear you recently say that you're adding on a show called Coast to Coast, Pro Wrestling Coast to Coast?
No, we have a couple of guys who are friends of ours from a network called the Coast to Coast. And they really want to be able to just unload about things that are bothering them. And they know over here we don't have any restrictions on language. So come on over, man.
Who are those guys?
That would be Adam and Mess Around Dave.
Okay. All right.
And Brandon too, right?
No, I don't think Brandon's doing it. It's just Dave and Adam.
Oh, okay.
No, the reason being, right, there's a show out there. What's it called, Pharaoh? Wrestling and Everything, Coast to Coast or some shit like that?
Flush to Floss or something like that. Pretty bad.
So
pretty bad.
We entered the wrestling world, right? So a quick synopsis of our relationship is Pharaoh and I went to junior high together, and Jimmy was a big wrestling fan where I was not. And we became friends, and Jimmy kind of turned me on to pro wrestling. And, just like anything else, you kind of lose contact with each other after a little while. He went his way doing his thing. He became a very popular musician after high school, and I went on to college and then finally into the military. So we lost contact. And we finally reached back in like about 10 years ago, and Jimmy and I, we both always shared the love of sports in general, but also the love of wrestling. And I was invited onto a show, and long story short, it went pretty well. And I brought Jimmy aboard, and then we ended up doing our own show. Some other radio station contacted us. The reason I'm getting into this is that was the birth of Monty and the Pharaoh. But we really weren't in the wrestling world, and we don't consider ourselves wrestlers, right? We were just two fans, teenagers who fell in love with the sport, and we're not experts. We're not in the biz. And the problem I have with a lot of podcasters out there, and again, we don't consider ourselves a podcast, but for a lot of podcasters out there, they think they're in the biz. They think they made it.
Damn right about that.
All right. So we run across some of the biggest douchebags in the world. Seriously, in the world.
There's a serious high degree of delusion. I can't, when I came into this, as Mike said, I've loved wrestling since I was a kid, and I had to readjust once I started to get, as Mike knows, it was kind of really Mike was better at it because Mike is better at shifting through the bullshit than I am. I kind of get really wrapped up in the fact that people are just convincing themselves of a bunch of shit that's not true. They all think they're in the business, and it got kind of nauseating. It was tough for us, but I've learned to change. I don't look at wrestling the same way I did with, through a kid's joyous eyes. But, you find your way to still enjoy it. If that makes any sense. I'm sure you guys have come across your douchebags and wondered about this business and what the fuck am I doing? And then at the end of the day, if you make people happy and you put out a good product, then fuck it. You deal with the douchebags, you put them to the side, you throw them in the circular file, right?
And the problem though with in-ring indie wrestling is just they all want to politic and they all want to fucking jockey, but there's only like 2 positions to be had. So just, man, fuck off, dude. Take the booking, work the match, remember your place on the card, and entertain the people and make yourself an asset to that company so you can have one of those 2 spots. But these kids are coming out of wrestling school now in like 3-month accelerated courses, and they're sucking the right dick, and they're getting like semi-main spots as their 5th match, and it's humiliating.
But what is a semi-main spot in an independent show? $5? I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, again, you go to some of these shows, and it's some of the worst shit you've ever seen in your life. So, we're coming full circle. So you guys brought up Hannibal, right? So Hannibal, I give him the respect, the fact that he was the OG of, the shoot interview, in him and Oliver and maybe RF Video, right? Those 3. So you got to give Hannibal a lot of credit. He's made a living off of YouTube. You know what I'm saying? But now, as this starts to grow, like you guys, right? People start to people are coming into this pro wrestling world podcasting thing that are much more talented, like you guys. So now Hannibal's starting to feel the pain, right? Because now it's starting to get swallowed up by these shows like yourselves, right? So that but I guess the point is that I just can't deal with any of these people. Seriously. You guys know Evan Ginsberg? I'm sorry, Farrell. I'm going to bring this shit up. So you guys know Evan Ginsberg?
I don't.
I don't know.
No.
Consider yourself fortunate. You're fortunate.
we went to our first studio because Evan Ginsberg had a show there, right?
True.
And if Evan Ginsberg was associated with The Wrestler. You all know the movie The Wrestler, right? The one with Mickey Rourke.
Yeah.
Right.
So, to me, I really enjoyed that. I mean, but so that Evan was sitting on that station, we thought, wow, holy cow, this guy is the real deal. And to Farrell's point a couple of minutes ago, is as you get to know all these fakes and these frauds, they're nobodies, and somehow they just pull the wool over your eyes until you finally start to cipher through all the bullshit that goes on here. I mean, everybody that does these shoot interviews pays these wrestlers. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Right? They all get paid. Right? With that, I think even Busted Open pays the wrestlers to come on. Maybe not some of the smaller names, but some of the bigger ones, right? So, everybody tries to act like that's not the case, and that's not what's going on. And
he's my friend.
Right.
We went to the library together this weekend. That's why Greg Valentine's coming on.
Oh, well, shit, that bond between a man and that library. I understand.
Return that book. Return that book.
I hate those little cock rings.
You cost me a nickel a day.
So we have a lot of problems with a lot of these guys. That's all. It's
well, they try to pull the con, right, Mike? Isn't that it? It's like, they're into business and they try to pull the con on us, and it's like, hey man, I think we learned this game after about a month of this horse shit. Fuck off.
Absolutely. Yeah, pulling the con. That's probably the answer there.
So,
So I mean, honestly, that's why I like your guys' show, right? It's really not about wrestling. It's just about whatever, calling bullshit out and stuff like that.
Mike, if I could throw this in, I love the fact that they're the Opie and Anthony from the birthplace of the Pharaoh. I was made in a lab in Florida, so I'm very excited that you guys are from Florida. That's awesome.
Nice.
That is awesome.
Very good, very good.
Nice.
And we've talked about you guys for probably the last 8 months. Like, well, should we approach them and ask them to come on? And like, we kept going back and forth on it. We both took the opinion of what's it going to hurt to ask, and then counter. They get asked every day, so why would they even give us a second look?
But Wild Thing, I got to get this in there though. You know what? You ask us. You ask us to come on. We come on, and I want to know one thing. How did the Pharaoh become the pariah? You want to explain that one to me, buddy, old pal? Old Southern connection? Old long lost soul from Florida? Go ahead.
Hey. No. Please, you talk. It's all fucking you right now. Please.
The pariah.
Yeah. Okay.
But enough about myself. Why don't you talk about me for a while? The pariah? Oy.
So as I'm writing up this, I'm trying to do this wonderfully worded, flattering announcement to advertise Monty and the Pariah coming on Wrestle.
It's a great gimmick, man. It sounds like it.
I missed Pharaoh.
It does.
And fucking autocorrect jumped in and said, "Oh, you're trying to say Pariah." I didn't even notice until old Monty hits me up about an hour and a half after it's been up. And he goes, well, I don't know who the Pariah is. You might want to fix this. And I'm looking at this, and I'm looking at the advertisement I wrote, and my brain isn't putting it together. I was like, he's fucking crazy. He's just busting my balls. But I couldn't get over it. I looked again. I was like, oh, shit, that's been up for hours. Damn it.
Spelling's not your forte, Rob.
Hey. You're right.
Well,
that wasn't a bad graphic. I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, except for the Pariah.
You would like it, Mike. Thanks a lot.
So no. It wasn't. We should have kept it up as Pariah. Maybe that probably would have
Bro, what is it, man?
We're writing him a new gimmick.
Wow.
But you know what? If I may jump in real quick, I mean, this has been eating at me for weeks ever since I finally saw your interview with Mr. Ron Shaw.
Oh boy.
And we know, being in the business as long as we were, touring around, hanging out with the old folk, we know how they get. And we know how, like, the more times they forget to tuck their chin, the more aggressive they got. But man, Ron Shaw comes on your show. He comes on your show and tells you, I'm going to tell you what you're asked. I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. I'm going to play this out, how it's going to play out.
Oh, fuck that.
And you guys were both very cool as he was ranting until finally Pharaoh goes, bro, are you fucking kidding me? And then you said, no, calm down. And then finally you said, bottom line, this is my fucking show, our show. Bottom line is this is our show. We're going to ask you whatever we want to ask you. And I was like, man, I'm in love with these guys. But based on how, and if you guys haven't seen it, man, go look up Monty and the Pariah, Monty and the Pharaoh. You fucked me up on YouTube, and look for this Ron Shaw interview. Like, you will be shocked that a grown ass Hall of Famer adult man was behaving like this on somebody else's show. So Chris and I have spent years doing Asshole of the Month. And then we would graduate at the end of the year to Asshole of the Year, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we decided to get rid of that. It was getting old. Wrestlers will never quit running out of doing asshole things. But based on Ron Shaw's appearance on the Monty and Pharaoh show, we have designated a brand new annual spot where we're going to have Crybaby of the Year. Fuck Ron Shaw. And everybody, I want you to pay particular attention to. It's a girl. Look at those titties. Fuck you, Ron Shaw.
Man. Where's your bra at, man? Jeez.
Wow.
Yeah, dude. Look at him trying to pop his neck out like he's still got those fucking Macho Man veins. Can anybody who's watching right now, who's in the chat room, can anybody name me one truly memorable Ron Shaw wrestling moment? Besides going when he was being inducted into the Hall of Fame, who? Anybody?
Wow.
One.
All right, wait. So
Now hold on. Wait a minute.
go ahead,
Bueller.
Farrell. Go ahead, Farrell.
Well, Mike, as you know, I'm actually very uncomfortable about the whole Ron Shaw thing because I kind of like Ron Shaw, mostly because of childhood memories, of course, because he's from that special little window when I was in junior high into high school. I try to make things cool with Ron Shaw, and I was surprised when he came on and continued to have a problem with Mike. I don't know, Mike, you want to fill in the rest of this? This has just been very awkward for me in a lot of ways, you know.
So
I was taken aback, kind of upset his response, but Mike, please fill in, you know, the rest of the shit.
So when Jimmy and I started the Monty and the Farrell show, we decided, hey, look, we love wrestling, right? But we don't love wrestling that much, right? We're not the let's go over the results on Monday Night Raw and AEW.
Right.
We kind of want to go into the background of the wrestler and what they were thinking and not even necessarily the dirt stuff, right? We don't want to know dirt. Like we just want to hear what they think.
But dirt sometimes comes with reality. We're looking for the real person. We're looking for the real person. If the dirt surfaces, so may it be. We're not looking for it, but if it comes up, we're certainly gonna, you know, sample that soil.
I am with Farrow that Ron Shaw is huge in our memories as younger fans, right? We're older than you guys, right? So, you know, we grew up on Ron Shaw and, you know, we had a special place for him. But I can't do shows regurgitating bullshit that's been covered by every other show out there. And I tried to explain that to Ron, and Ron really felt uncomfortable. And in some cases, right, Farrow, Ron is right. You know, they shut down our YouTube channel because of the controversy. We had to reboot that whole thing. We lost money.
That's more due to obsessive douchebags. Some of the people we were talking about earlier that just can't, you know, accept the fact that we don't do things the boring way. Asking about arm bars from 1974. We're not afraid to ask, you know, the questions that really count, the questions that may make you feel uncomfortable. We're very upfront about what we do, though. If you don't like it, change the channel. Obsessing over us? Fuck you.
Yeah.
In the ass.
And we certainly have our haters, right? So back to Ron. Ron really didn't want to do that type of interview, and I just wasn't going to change it. And he wasn't happy about it. So hence we had an issue. Again, I respect the guy for the career he had, and but do I respect the man? Probably not. I lost respect that day for him for sure. But it's all cool, right? People, I got punched in the face by Marty Jannetty. People think it was a work. It was real. I mean, Marty Jannetty.
What did you take away his mouthwash so he couldn't drink it?
Well, no, you know,
that's a good story.
Wild thing. This was a real serious deal. We had brought him in for a signing. There were kids there. We had a guy.
Home, though, Mike. Don't forget, though, this was our first major guest.
Right.
On top of it. So we were very excited. We were dealing with, like, you know, Joe Blow wrestling in Comac, and then we finally got to a Marty Jannetty. You can imagine how excited we were, guys.
Sure.
So, like, that was the humble beginnings, guys, because we used to have these wrestlers. That's how we got taught really early what kind of bullshit it is. We had a guy, he passed away. His name was Butcher Blackwell, okay? And he claimed to be Jerry Blackwell's nephew. So we brought him in, you know, did interviews with him. We were very excited. We became friends with the guy. And then we're bringing in Marty Jannetty. So what does this guy do with Marty Jannetty? While kids are there, they decide to go into the bathroom and snort a shitload of cocaine.
Of course.
Which was a major problem with me and Farrow.
Big
Marty dropped his drawers in front of a kid with her mom. He dropped his drawers.
Yeah.
You know, it was very messed up. It was actually very hurtful to watch this happen.
And we didn't like it. Right.
So high.
So hence we went on the attack on him for quite a while. And when he came
Mike,
back,
you paid him well. Not to cut you up, I'm sorry, Mikey, but we paid him well. We paid him well for this appearance, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Take it away, brother.
And we had an argument, and I wasn't going to let it go. And he decided to pop me, and he popped me good. And thanks for the Farrow, he took care of him. But people still, as they think it was a work between me and him. Now, as funny it is, it's not even funny. This is what men. It's about men being men. We're very close with Marty Jannetty now. It's all
Yep.
forgiven, right? We're
Yep.
very close to them. In fact, I talk to
Yep.
Marty at least once
Love
a
Marty.
week. So,
Nice.
but this is the funny thing. Go back to these other wrestling guys, right? There was such hatred for us out there that people were befriending this guy, Butcher Blackwell, and trying to, at this point, we thought he was a wrestler, and he kind of was going on other shows, and we weren't happy about it. We had a falling out with the guy. He ended up passing away, but he was forgotten by all these people. He was used by them.
Right.
My point is, Chris, Wild Thing, I can't say it enough. I can't stand these people, and I don't beat around the bush. I call out names. I won't go, this guy from this show. No. Fuck you, Russell Jackman. Fuck you, Evan Ginsberg. Fuck you, Hannibal. And those agents also that bring these wrestlers around. These guys would sell their mother for a penny, man. It's
And
crazy.
fuck Ron Shaw still.
Yeah.
What about Ron Shaw?
And fuck him too.
Oh, okay. Fuck Ron Shaw. Take it away. Fuck you, Ron Shaw.
Right
Fuck
the
you,
fucking-
Ron.
Oh my God, Mike! I like Ron. You're putting me in a very rough spot. All right, fine. Fuck you, Ron Short. That's terrible.
Yeah, there you go. Fuck you, Ron Shaw. Let's all say it. Yay.
You punk! You punk!
So answer me
right.
this, guys. Why did you get into this? What was your passion that you guys decided to do this?
You want to take this one, Rob? I can jump in.
Yeah, I'll start from the start.
Yeah.
God, how long ago would you say it is, Chris? 22, 23 years?
I'm going to say, I'm going to say early 2000. Let's just go with that. 2000,
Okay.
2001 range. Something like
Back in the good old days, a very close friend of mine, he used to be a ring announcer for the old WWF, for the East Coast primarily. He did a little bit of Central, but
that. West Coast.
what's that?
West Coast.
West Coast primarily. He did a little bit of Central as well. But Michael Porter was his name, and him and this gentleman, Rick Rockwell, came up with the concept because this little AM radio station saw a value in a professional wrestling on-air talk show. So they started up Wrestle Shoot, and they brought me in to be one of their earlier on guests. And I guess I wowed them right away because I walked into the studio. You know how most guys walk into your studio. They're trying to be quiet. They're just getting to their cans. They're getting the microphone. I did all of that. I came in with respect, grabbed the microphone, and just went, "Shut your mouth, jabronis! Finally, the Rob has come back to Marysville." So anyway, after that, all of a sudden, I was the new third chair on the Wrestle Shoot. And then Rockwell, one of the founders, some personal issues came up, and he had to go. So we rode the Wrestle Shoot train on AM. We did FM, so we moved it around a bit. Then we took it to a film version, and we were doing it on television out there in Sacramento, Stockton, Modesto, Yuba City, kind of all that area.
Yeah, Central California.
Yeah. And then Chris and I just decided we had enough of the business for the aforementioned reasons. That was just kind of done. And then we lost Mike. He passed away after he moved to LA to be one of the innovators of what podcasts are. So he was doing Wrestle Shoot on podcast before us by himself. So after he passed, just forever later, I started hitting up Chris because our conversations just on the phone are so weird sometimes, and
Weird and
they
random.
jump all over the place, and they're funny and blah. And I was like, we should be doing a podcast. He kept saying, no, we don't need to do a podcast. You want to step in now, Chris?
Yeah. Well, a lot of those conversations had a lot of alcohol involved as well. So I would say a year later after we talked about it, brought it up, and we're drinking heavily. And I called Rob up. I was like, we should do a podcast. And Rob's like, I've been fucking saying for the last goddamn year, man. This ain't no new fucking idea.
Can I put a twist on that? What he actually said was, hey, Rob, I have a great idea. Oh, what's your idea? We should do a podcast. The fuck have I been saying for the last year? So continue, Chris.
No, man. So yeah, so we said, fuck, let's do it, man. And what did we start? What, 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, something like that?
Yep. And we started on audio only.
Yeah, it was just straight audio. And I don't even remember the program we jumped on. What was that program again?
It was Anchor and Spotify, all those audio platforms that are free when the Anchor puts you on.
Yeah.
So,
but
we didn't know how to hit pretty quick.
Yeah, we didn't want those typical shows where like, doing shows every week, like doing stats and talking about matches and, the same old boring shit that you guys were talking about earlier. It's fucking boring. So we're like, well, let's go on the show and get the real shit. Like you guys, having our show and talking about the real stuff and getting those real questions and everything and having fun with it and just, flying by the seat of our pants and no scripts or, we have a couple bullet points we talk about, but for the most part, it's just having a conversation and letting it roll. And we got a lot of good press right away. A lot of people were like, man, we love this shit. This is real. Like, good shit. Want to jump in, Rob?
The aforementioned Adam Barber from that Coast to Coast place you brought up.
Yeah.
But it's a different spot. But he approached us and said, we'd like to interview you on our wrestling show that we do. And we did it. Of course, why not? We turned on the web cameras and it was over here on StreamYard. And
yeah.
Next thing you know, he's like, I'd really like you guys to put Wrestle Shoot on our platform and start getting that video exposure. And then just it started going and couldn't believe how quick it was going.
Now you guys are from California, the West Coast?
Yeah.
Yep.
So let me ask you, did you guys know Roland Alexander and Mike Modest? Did you guys work with those guys?
Mike was my trainer.
He was.
Mike, yeah, I trained APW.
So forgive me for this, right? Because I'm not the wrestling expert, but I am somewhat interested in the California independent scene, right? Because now what is it? Wrestling Iron, right? Wrestling Iron, I think it was. And what did Roland run? What was his organization?
All Pro Wrestling, and then Mike branched off from Roland. They had a bit of a falling out, and Mike started his own thing.
Oh, Iron, yeah, that's right.
Right.
Yeah, Pro Wrestling Iron.
So,
his thing.
First of all, how did Roland die?
Boom, boom.
Yeah, I want to say, was it a heart attack?
His heart stopped, yeah.
Yeah, it was a heart attack.
Yeah, Mr. 6 Jack in the Box tacos, 2 Jumbo Jacks, and an extra large Diet Coke. His heart stopped.
Yeah, he was in terrible shape, man. He had sleep apnea, he had high cholesterol, blood pressure, all kinds of shit.
Now, when you watch Beyond the Mat, him and Modest seemed like they were really close. So, what caused the breakup between those guys?
Roland, like the story I got, that Roland wasn't really letting Mike branch out too much on his own, and Mike's like, I want to do my own shit. Like, I don't want to be exclusive to you. And Roland's like, no, you need to be exclusive to me. And Mike had all these offers from Japan, and basically came down to one day. He's like, Mike's, I'm going to start my own fucking place. And he took probably about 70% of APW with him, like a lot of the wrestlers. A few people stayed behind, but it was mainly Modest wanted to do his own thing, and Roland was kind of holding him back.
So let me ask you this. So there's the story about Khali, right? Khali had a different name when he was in California. And Khali actually killed a wrestler in the ring. Do you know anything about that? Were you around for that?
I was gone after that.
But it happened.
Our thing. I did work a match with Khali though earlier on the independent circuit. But yeah, that was from the story I got. He was killed. The student was killed at the school during a practice session. And he had some seizures and some concussions, and nothing was really done about it at all from the story I got. And Rob, you can jump in anytime.
And that's the fucking problem. Was this kid took that big choke slam from Khali. Khali was green as grass, and this kid was even greener. So he took that big choke slam. He took it wrong. He wanged his head off the mat before his body even hit. Now, that happens, that kind of shit happens in the ring. Problem was, he rolled out of the ring, immediately started vomiting into a garbage can, and the fucking mega brain trust that be over at APW told the kid just to sit down and shake it off. And
Yeah, nothing was done about it.
And his family should have got significantly more than they did. Now, don't get me wrong. They got, what, 1.2 million, Chris?
Well, Rob, hold on.
Yeah.
Let's slow down a little bit because kind of reeling you guys right into this, so it's rolling pretty perfect. Who represented Roland as a lawyer at that point?
Oh no.
Me!
Was his name Russell Jackman by a chance?
I don't know the
No
name.
idea now.
I don't
Buddy
know.
Sotelo, he was a manager, right?
Oh,
in that area.
Buddy Costello?
Yeah, Sotelo, whatever the hell his name is. You know that guy?
Hi,
Yeah, Buddy
Joe.
Costello.
I know. I met him briefly on a couple
Wait a minute.
of shows.
Is Buddy Costello a lawyer?
I guess he used to be. I know he was working. I know he was working pro bono for Russell during that whole thing, and
More like
he
pro
was so
bono.
bad. He was working pro bono. Russell fired him because he was so bad at his job. But
Oh shit.
you know, this is another guy in the wrestling world that I'm in the business, right?
I'm in the
And
business.
he was, he was a lawyer. So, but the kid's
Wild
family did make money. Wild Thing, huh? They did get some. Who did they get paid by?
I think
Insurance?
it was the insurance company. Yeah, not the
yeah.
insurance company. And
Yeah.
Roland had to cover $200,000 of it.
there was like a copay or something.
So I'm making,
Copay, whatever you call it, a fee that Roland had to pay.
but
No,
yeah, that
oddly
was
enough-
insurance, and
oddly
that
enough-
really
was
was the beginning of the end of Roland's already failing health. After he lost that suit, he just went down.
But let me ask you something. Was Roland, was Modest, were they good guys or were they scumbags? They rip you off or fill me in? I don't
think
know.
they're a couple of cunts.
Yeah. Roland's total scumbag. Roland was an accountant, so he's great with fucking numbers. So he'll pretty much fuck anybody over.
Wait a minute, he was an accountant who died with no money, right?
At the end.
Who used a lawyer that couldn't produce any kind of law. Okay, go ahead, Chris. Sorry.
Yeah. No.
Holy Limp Bizkit, that man.
Yeah. Holy shit. Modest, I have no
Jesus,
judgment.
jumping
On,
jelly shit.
I have no judgment on Modest. I mean, he was my trainer. But I mean, I haven't talked to him in years. He did.
I'll speak on it. Mike Modest, you're a fucking prick, and you know you're a prick. You're a disrespectful son of a bitch. You don't give people their proper respect in any locker room that you're in because for some reason, because you fucking jobbed out Prince Iaukea once, you think you are the fucking California version of Hulk Hogan. Guess what, Jack? You know what the California version of Hulk Hogan is? Hulk fucking Hogan! That's who the California Hulk Hogan is. You are Michael Modest, Mikel Modesto. You're a fucking dick. You just are a dick. You're a roid rage machine back in the day. Fuck you and fuck anybody who looks like you.
You mean a 5'3" roid rage machine?
Yeah, that little fucking midget, dude. I took a piss, dude, and he happened to be standing underneath me. I didn't even know it.
So
bastard.
again, you guys are actually were wrestlers, right? You were in the biz. So
Yeah.
I'm asking you questions because I don't know.
Yeah.
Now, I'm sorry, just keep on going here. There was another guy from California. His name by Mike Leno. Did he hang around you guys a lot or no? He's a photographer.
Mike, yes, I know Mike. He was with APW for a bit.
Yeah, that's APW's little photographer bitch, right?
Yeah.
You weren't showering when the bulb, the camera bulb went off, were you? Like, in the shower.
Of course he was.
There he
That was
is.
part of the deal, I thought.
There he is. Hi, I'm Dr. Mike. Hi. Click. Didn't happen, did it? I hope it didn't happen. How big time is he? He's like Napolitano level, right? Big time, right? He's big time over there, right?
I don't fucking know. I've only
Yes,
seen
of
the
course
guy
you don't
once,
know.
never met him. But he's that dude with like the Dago slick hair. Is that who we're thinking about, Chris? Is that the right guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, faggot.
I never talked to him too much, to be honest. So I mean, whatever. I mean,
And by the way, for everybody watching, when I say faggot, I'm not referring to homosexual. There was a time when the four guys here were growing up. We said, hey, Chris, stop being a fag. Not saying stop like enjoying the pleasure of male company.
Yeah.
Stop being a fag. So don't be sensitive. If you're too PC to be here, then you know you shouldn't be here. Jog on.
You
Yep.
punk. You punk.
A little bit.
Wow. So the California scene is quite crazy, man. That's some crazy shit.
It's
Holy
Wild
cow.
West, man. It's Wild West out there, and it's so disorganized and it's so selfish. Like there was this guy. He was in Reno Scum on what was it, Ring of Honor, Adam Thorstow.
Okay.
Like me and Adam had legit fucking heat, man. He came from Reno, from this fat slob piece of garbage, Brian Bridger, who trained him. And me and him had heat because I had heat with his trainer. He took off. He went back east to go wrestle for about a year, and he came back a different man. They humbled him. So California wrestling is very, ooh, no, I want to get the belt. Oh, I'm not ready to lose the belt. You fuck a belt. Fuck you. Quit marking out. And in 10 years, you're going to be jockeying for the same positions in the same company, and everybody's fighting for the same number of fans.
Too many egos.
You guys have wrestled. So I got to ask you this: with all the safety protocols today and all the advanced medicines and all that shit, you guys think it's more dangerous to be a wrestler today than it was when they were truly earning their stripes the old-fashioned way back in the day? Because nowadays you can get in the ring with a guy who's been trained by, from Sam's Delicatessen. You're going to trust your life, your neck with that half inch of mistake that could happen and paralyze you? Do you think it's more dangerous being a wrestler today?
Absolutely.
I think it's more dangerous maybe being a wrestler today because they don't know how to fucking work. And that's the problem.
They don't have to protect themselves or protect the person they're working.
No ring awareness.
Yeah, there you go. Ring awareness, that's a huge one. Back then when we started, we were taught to how to protect ourselves and our person that we're working with. Ring awareness. I mean, the classes were a lot longer. When we were ready, to go out there and have a good match, at least to protect everyone.
But when we were ready to go out there and take a squash for the first year. That's what we were ready for. Not to go out there and suddenly be in the semi-main, stink the whole fucking show up. Because you could have me in a match, Chris in a match. You could have Sumite Woke. You could have Rampage. All these great wrestlers leading up to get to the main event. You get to a semi-main from some little cocksucker who sucked the right cock, and he just killed the entire show before it. And now nobody cares about the main because the art of psychology is dead.
But Dr. Mike got a photo of it, though. So as long as Dr. Mike got his picture. Mike?
What?
Smile. Another shot at Dr. Mike. Never mind. Hi, Dr. Mike.
No, you guys bring up look, again, you guys bring up really good points. It's what made you guys get out of the wrestling part of it? Was it a point where you realized it wasn't going to go anywhere, or
just all the reasons we already went over? We just couldn't. The state of the business disgusted us.
It's too much politics, too many egos involved. That was my main thing. It just got too much after a while.
And when you get these guys who call themselves pros, who are pissed off, and I'm going to use this little cunt hair Rick Luxury out there in California, who is still wrestling. He's too old. He's too broken. He needs to get the fuck up out because he's a cunt anyway. But we were going to put this cruiserweight title on this cat, Tony Dreamer. He was a good dude. He was a youth pastor, and he was a solid worker. We were going to take a different direction with a white-hot babyface. And Luxury had a problem. So he decided to hit Tony Dreamer with his finisher, with Rick's finisher, grab Dreamer, pull him on top of him like the belt doesn't matter to me. So he just went out there and bastardized the belt, bastardized his position in the show, and got his shit thrown out the back door and almost killed in the locker room for his trouble. But that's what the business has turned into on the indie level so far.
No, it sounds like AEW, to be quite honest. But
Well, what kind of crowds did you guys draw? Like, what was a good crowd? What was a bad crowd?
300.
Okay.
Was that a norm, or was that?
Yeah, that was the night. We knew we were going to draw.
250,
350.
Yeah.
So at 300, the promoter's making some decent money. I mean, what's he paying you guys?
Well, that was for UWA. That was for a promotion that we started together. So we were drawing 350. 350.
And did
other
you
shows typically maybe $150 to 200, Chris?
Yeah, I would say give or take.
And what would you now? Did you guys have a school also, or just a promotion?
We did have a school for a little while, but just got tired of it.
So like, how does it work? Do you bring the students in and then they work for free and they set up everything and you bring the crowd in and you bring like one star in there to try to draw the crowd? That's where you made your money. Is that the way it works? Is that the formula? Because that seems like the formula around here.
We did stars, sure. But we also we really understood how we wanted ourselves to be marketed. So that's how we would market them. So we were making our local guys, some of them, the imported talent, the ones that people were still paying to come see. It's those other schmucks who are on the undercard who ain't nobody unique paying to see your stupid ass, but they think they deserve $100, and they should be glad we're giving them a 20 and a spot to start working on their craft. But no, there's no money in indie wrestling.
So being that you guys are in the biz, and this is like a question.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not in the biz.
Sure.
We know there's wrestling lingo out there. Do you guys get pissed off when we'll call us amateurs talk wrestling lingo or get involved in the wrestling biz? Does it insult you guys? Because we didn't put in any time, right? You guys worked your ass off. We didn't. Does that piss you off?
That's a gray area, man.
Yeah, that is. Maybe back in the beginning, like when we were still in the ring, maybe that would annoy us.
Not today, though.
So back in the day, if you guys were in a bar, I'd be like, yo, man, you really drew some color tonight. And, yada, yada, yada. That would piss you off.
Yeah, I say, who the fuck are you, man? See the door? You need to use it.
Get the fuck out of here, pal.
Don't make me call Janetti, dude.
That wrist lock was impressive.
I would have blew it off. I'd be like, yeah, thanks. And that's all I would say. Just turn back around and finish my break.
See, that's where I'm different. If they came at me with some actual inside shit like, holy fuck, you guys were over and you got some great color tonight, fuck yourself, dude. Get out of here. You want an 8x10, $20? Get the fuck out of here.
Wow,
that's how I would
we're not allowed to use the lingo. It's not right. You can't do. Wow. Don't ever use the word over again, ever.
Wow.
Ever.
See, I'm the smooth one. Rob's the one. Rob's a little more controversial.
Yeah, I'm the hammer. That's true.
Yeah.
I'm the hammer. You're the beefcake.
There you go. Yeah. Oh, wow.
So Chris, your name's Chris Casanova, right? Are you concerned that you're going to get sued by Kenny Casanova?
No.
Who?
He knows who Kenny Casanova.
I know Kenny. Yeah. So yeah.
Not
worried about that. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Come sue me, Kenny.
Get him on here.
Who, Kenny Casanova?
Bill him as your way out of shape cousin.
So, all right. Who do you guys hate the most in the industry?
Wow. It changes.
Come on, there's got to be ultimate hate somewhere. Ultimate hate.
Tony Khan.
Tony Khan, really?
Why Tony Khan? That little tushy face fucking mark. Go ahead. Why?
Well, I don't hate Tony Khan at all. That was a joke. But
oh man, I do. What the fuck?
What I'm going to do is tell you somebody who I used to love, who I'm suddenly starting to hate so much, and maybe you guys have an answer to this question I ask often.
Okay.
Why do you gentlemen think that Paul Roma's a fucking bitch and won't man up and come on Wrestle Shoot and face me? You hear me, Roma? I'm talking to you yet again, you beady-eyed Dago pile of fuck. You forgotten, washed up horseman. Dude, you ain't got nobody to get your back. Herc ain't around. What, you call Jim Powers? Call me, pussy. It's been years. I'm still here. And I know you see this. You fuck.
I think Paul can fuck you up, Rob, still.
I'll fucking kill Dago-ass Roma. I'll kill the fucking forgotten horseman. I'll take you to the glue factory, Roma. Fucking bet.
Wow,
what made you guys love wrestling?
What the fuck, Mike?
Shit,
He just killed Paul Roma. Tell us about that armbar that turned you on.
I know. I was hoping you guys would give me a reason why he's being such a little fucking butt pounder. But
actually, I can't because he ruined the Four Horsemen. I've got nothing to add to your insults because other than that.
That's right.
He did ruin
he
the
ruined-
four. I'll give him that.
Ruined the Four Horsemen. Who let this stallion into the barn?
So I'm going to be the anti-Wild thing on this one. Paul Roma was
Okay,
part of
okay.
the Young Stallions, which was one of the finest WWF tag teams back
stop
in the
it.
day. Him, Jim Powers, two handsome young men built like
Oh,
brick shit houses,
Jesus Christ.
well trained tag team, and
Ah,
Roma went on to become one of the finest Four Horsemen in the history of the Four Horsemen.
making me
In
so
fact,
ill.
when he came on, I was
Ah,
ecstatic
lying.
that they
You're
have
lying.
put Paul Roma up there.
lie,
So
lie.
basically, what I'm hearing from you, Monty, is you want to suck Roma's cock. Is that about right?
Wait
Listen,
a minute, that's my
I'm at an
show.
age
Stop,
now, Rob.
stop.
If the price
Mike?
is right, I do anything.
Mike,
Oh,
20
shit.
bucks is $20, man.
unbelievable.
$20 ain't gonna cut it. Now you know you get in the $2,000 range. I'm there. I'm gold.
He's
I'm
not. You're
gold.
not
And
cheap,
I'm not
then,
a
right?
I'm not cheap, but I'm not
You priced
afraid either.
yourself
I'm
right
not
out
in
of the
fear.
game.
Paul Boner.
And keep
This is
fucking
bad.
around. I'm gonna go hire Buddy Statello to be my lawyer, and I'm gonna sue your ass. So be careful.
Whoa.
I like your odds, Mike. I like your odds.
So I'll
Right.
get myself a paralegal and we'll blow you bitches out the water, something like that.
Yeah.
I don't even think you
Yeah.
need that. Just go to Walmart and get one of those cashiers and bring them. You'll be fine.
Or I'll get one of those little books, Law for Dummies.
So seriously,
There you
what made you guys become wrestlers? What was the moment that you guys said, "Mom, Dad, girlfriend, wife, I want to be a wrestler"?
Oh shit. Well, it was my mom's fault. She was watching wrestling when I was probably about 10 or 11 years old, and I was fucking hooked no matter what. It just went from there.
Was it a
I was-
particular match or a wrestler?
I was watching Ric Flair.
Woo!
Fucking traitor. Go ahead.
What?
You're a
Wait,
traitor.
wait, wait.
You're a
Traitor,
traitor.
what?
You're a
What?
traitor.
He's not from the New York area, Mike. He's down there with the Georgia.
He's from
Championship
California. California is not NWA
Wrestling. Oh, that's even
territory.
better. That's John Tolo's territory with the Olympic
John
Auditorium.
Tolos.
That's some good shit over there. You stop it. I like that stuff. That
Yeah,
used
you
to be
gotta
on
watch
Lucha
out, man.
Libre.
Back then
Yeah,
you
Lucha
had
Libre.
Alex Knight running around out there raising hell. So gotta be
Yeah,
careful
yeah.
when you're talking about
Yeah.
California.
Yeah. So you're not a Flair fan, Monty?
It's not that I'm not a Flair fan. It's just I really get sick and tired of, you know, when people talk about the greatest matches or why they love wrestling, they're like, "Oh, Flair versus Steamboat was the greatest match I've ever seen in my life." It's like, shut up, man. 3,000 people watched that boring ass bullshit. And the only reason it was halfway decent is because Rick Steamboat is a good wrestler. And I'm not an anti-Flair guy. But again,
Wow.
Ric Flair, Ricky Steamboat is not nearly the best match of all time. And it really pisses me off. It's just like, you can't say something is great when you have 3,000 people watching it. I'm sorry. It just that if there's no interest, it can't be great. Greatness doesn't happen if people don't watch. Wild thing, you look like you're really you're pissing you off. You upset about
He
that?
looks puzzled.
He does.
I'm
He's
just
angry.
very confused by what you're saying. Yeah,
I am confused a little bit as well.
That
but-
makes
Well,
zero
I think if I can clear this up, I think basically at the end of the day, it's really about spectacle in many ways too. Of course, this is your own perception as a fan. Listen, Vince has been saying for years that it's entertainment. I believe that it's both. Of course, it's half sport, it's half entertainment. But listen, there is nothing bigger than Hogan and Andre staring at each other in front of 93,000 people at WrestleMania 3. That was truly big, big, big time. Ric Flair, as Mike is pointing out, and Rick Steamboat may have been a sport 5-star match. But again, when you compare it to the spectacle of what Vince was creating simultaneously at the same time, come on. So I guess it really comes down to the difference being WWE guys growing up here in New York, watching Vince McMahon turn what he turned into. Wrestling became a Super Bowl thanks to Vince McMahon. So we are conditioned to look at it that way. You understand what I'm getting at? When Hogan stares at Andre, that to me is the ultimate kind of moment that pro wrestling can give, not just you and me, the purists who grew up watching it, but the regular quote-unquote person off the street who knows who Hulk Hogan is to this day.
And see,
Well,
my
those are-
moment My moment that you're relaying your Hulk and Andre's that awe-inspiring, moment. And you're not wrong. You're not wrong. But when I saw Hulk and Andre, I was young enough to where it was what it was from the beginning. Just superhero versus supervillain. Locked up in this epic.
Larger than life.
Yeah.
The match that stood out for me, like Andre and Hulk did for you, was Hogan Warrior at Mania 6. Because now we got a couple of Batman and Superman fighting, but on top of that, never before on watching, the Southerns, the Easterns, watching any of the countries or territories of the country, never have I seen a crowd that was literally cut in half, so much so, and it could have been a plant, but to me it looked good, where one side of the entrance aisle, somebody is holding a cardboard of Hogan directly across, cardboard of Warrior. That dun, 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 the energy that immediately punches you in the face. Warrior's already half gassed. You can tell from shaking the ropes. And then comes Hulkster. Bum, bum, bum. Now that's the music that makes you go, here comes Superman.
Right.
Yep.
So that was my Andre and Hogan moment. But it was.
Let me hold on, Pharaoh. And this is why Pharaoh is my partner, because he kind of clears up everything the proper way for wrestling fans to understand. But I'll ask both of you guys this. You're going to talk about, Kenny Omega against somebody. I'm not saying you're a Kenny Omega fan. Don't get me wrong. Would you rather have that type of match, or would you rather have the Ultimate Warrior and Honky Tonk Man at SummerSlam?
Oh, man, was that great. 31
yeah,
seconds.
Honky and Warrior 7 days a week and twice on Sundays.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, you know what it is, guys, too? It's the knee-jerk reaction kind of like, we're tired of hearing shit about Hogan. Right, Mike? We're tired of hearing shit about Hogan. What the fuck, Okay, so Hulk Hogan can't do a fancy flip like Kenny Omega. Hulk Hogan can't sit there and do a wrestling flip for 60 minutes like Ric Flair. Who gives a shit? Gives a shit. Doesn't mean that I don't love Ric Flair any less for the things he does. But I'm sick of Hulk Hogan getting killed here. Hulk Hogan is the reason why we have what we have today. If you don't like it,
Hulk Hogan is Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
Babe Ruth. You're right. Yeah. He put it on the map.
Wait a minute.
So
Hold on.
No doubt.
Hold on. I'm going to say this too. This is something people don't give enough credit for. The fact of the matter, who put wrestling on the map is Cyndi Lauper put wrestling on the map.
Hell yes.
Wrestling was its own little area where all these wrestling assholes had their little planet. They could go jerk off in mommy's basement, right? Because it was their own little thing. Cyndi Lauper brought that into mainstream. Her, Piper, Hogan, McMahon, Wendy Richter. We don't give the women enough credit. Cyndi Lauper and Wendy Richter and Moolah. I was balls in that whole time, and I remember how that thing started with the before the war to settle score. I think it was the Brawl for It All. Again, I'm looking only from the WWE eyes of it, but we did watch NWA wrestling. We did have cable, and NWA wrestling was cool, man. It was an option, but the feeling was not nearly the same.
Well, right. It was Broadway versus LA.
Yeah. That's a good comparison.
That's a great comparison.
But the thing is, the LA version of wrestling over Vince's Broadway it looked more gritty, so it made you feel like it was more real.
Right. They were trying to sell more of the sports angle than the entertainment angle, and that's always been the deal. AEW tries to fool people with that shit today. Oh, we're selling the sports angle. And I love these purists who always say Vince is a slave driver and he doesn't take care of his wrestlers. The AEW fans don't give a crap how badly these guys kill each other in their company. They don't give a shit. These guys are killing themselves over there. It's safer to work in the WWE. With all their criticisms of Vince McMahon over the years, it is much safer to work for Vince McMahon than it is your beloved Q Indy marks out there, your beloved AEW. That company's getting people physically killed. And they want more.
I think that Chris and I could go out there and get the same amount of heat just throwing Japanese arm drags as these dudes who were fucking doing moonsaults in the middle of a match for some inexplicable fucking reason. It doesn't make sense anymore. but they're all still trying to one up each other because they all want that belt because they forget it to work. Pricks.
What do you mean?
And-
It's not real?
And in kind,
wait,
it's
not real?
the bullshit of what they're doing on AEW and WWE is trickling down the mountain, and it's ruining it down on the indie levels. Thank God some of the old schoolers are still out there to smack these kids in their teeth out there when these kids are going too fast or they're getting reckless, and the old schoolers just show them. Thank God those dudes are there, because I don't see how much more life the business actually has at this point.
Mm. Yeah, Mike scares me all the time with that. Mike, what do you think the state of wrestling is at this point, especially now that Vince is back and there's rumors that Vince may sell, which is a nightmare to me. Mike, do you think that look at this, I'm talking to my partner.
Well, I don't think it's a rumor because they hired JP Morgan.
Is it going to be sold to Disney, Mike? And what do you think that does to wrestling?
I think wrestling is dying.
I hate when you say that, but you might
Wrestling
be right.
in itself wrestling in itself is dying. Sports entertainment, WWE land is not dying, right? You know, the ratings matter, but they don't matter in the way they used to, which I think everybody's clear on that.
Yeah.
But wrestling in itself is oversaturated. It's not the same. The WWE is very smart, right? They're building the next generation of fans, right? And that's what they're doing. AEW, on the other hand, is going to the 30 and 40-year-old who, you know, that niche audience that wants this NWA, back to Chris, back to you with the Ric Flair thing, and you, Wild thing, about the reality of it. It seemed more real type of thing. And people really don't want it. And again, I can only stomach wrestling for so much, right? We love doing our show because we talk to most of the older guys, right? The older guys that we remember when we were children. I mean, we had Backlund on, and
great.
This guy,
so great.
This guy, if you want to call it a gimmick, he was Bob Backlund. And boy, did this guy have morals. And boy, did this guy.
Yep.
It was
Captain America walked into the studio.
It was Captain America.
It was great.
And but the
And we
point of the
hated
matter
him
is,
growing up.
Was he carrying an apple pie in Ovaltine?
it was close.
Oh,
It was
Big glass of milk.
close.
Big glass of milk. It was great.
Big glass of
But I will
talking
tell
about
you
how
that
much he loves his mother. Yeah.
these older guys, like the Tommy Riches,
He's awesome.
these guys meant something. And boy, Tommy Rich couldn't fucking wrestle worth a shit. But he was great, in my opinion.
I love Tommy.
And that's not an insult on Tommy Rich.
I disagree. I thought Tommy Rich
was
took
good.
what he had and
I thought he was
squeezed way more out of it than he should have been able to. I thought
That's
Tommy
fine.
Rich was great.
right.
But
Yeah,
no,
also-
Wild thing, I'm not
also-
saying great pro wrestler, wasn't a great pro wrestler. What I'm trying to tell you, he wasn't your prototypical great wrestler. You know what I
Right,
mean? He
right.
wasn't
Right,
a
wasn't
Kurt
rocking
Hennig.
the Hogan bod.
Yeah, right. That type.
Yeah.
It wasn't being called Bret Hart or Kurt Hennig. That's for sure. Yep. Tommy was good though. Tommy told a great story in the ring. He told the most sympathetic babyface story. Think about what a babyface Tommy Rich was. It's fantastic. Fantastic baby.
Sure.
You know, smokes a lot of weed too. I like Tommy.
Attaboy. That's my kind of guy. Same as Snuka,
Yeah.
boy. I used to really love just sitting under the tree with Snuka as he lights one joint right off the other one. Then we go to breakfast. And then he would drink that night and be a cunt. Then we'd get into it.
So Wild thing, I'll ask you about this. You guys are wrestlers, right? You're hanging around with these old timers. Do you turn around and you think to yourself, like, why am I being nice to this guy? He murdered this girl.
Never,
Ooh.
because nobody was fucking there. Like for people to say Snuka murdered this woman, you weren't fucking there. You don't know what happened. One of them's dead and the other one's not talking. So that's where that was led up. But based on the preponderance and people, you know, fucking me and Jimmy have had a couple of sideways conversations. We've almost got down a couple of times. but you weren't fucking there. Jimmy was an admitted drug addict, and so was Cheryl. And we don't know what kind of a confrontation that they had. But for anybody to be so idiotic to suggest that he would leave her laying in a bed, dead, go to work, come back, then call the cops, doesn't give Snuka the kind of mental capacity that a walnut would have even back then. If they got into it and he thought she was about to die, he would have called 911. He would have gotten help. He might have still have left and gone to work. Who knows? But people who have, look, the courts could not find enough evidence to convict Snuka. And if you have all of your little opinions and your little made-up factoids about what happened, you weren't there. Go fuck yourself. When
Wild
Jimmy
Thing,
Snuka wasn't drinking,
what do you think happened, Wild Thing?
I don't know. Jimmy wasn't talking about it, so I don't know.
He's not talking about it at all. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, you know how it is, man. The way they serve up whatever information and whatever way they want to serve it up to you, it doesn't look good coming from the outside looking in. It didn't look good, So I'm just curious as to what you thought might have happened instead.
Sure, it didn't.
What you just said, I don't usually hear. So I'm curious.
What I would guess is exactly what his defense was. Because,
Okay.
I mean, we knew before he passed, we knew Jimmy for a really long time.
Okay.
And although in the ring, when he turns on the Superfly, he can lie with the best of them. But when he's having a conversation and lying to you, his eyes were his biggest tell.
Right.
And he just said, we were fucking doing coke. I had to go to work. She didn't want me to go. She started grabbing a hold of me. She started hitting me. I turned around and I swatted her and she went down and she hit her head. I didn't think she was actually injured. I put her into bed. She died when I was at work. I came back and I called the police.
Wow.
And why wouldn't you believe that? He's admitting I was doing cocaine. I committed domestic violence, but I did not know she was actually injured.
No.
Feel the same way, Chris?
I do. Yeah.
Well, you've known Jimmy just as long as I had. Like, what was your take when you would hear when we would book him and these marks would send us these stupid emails? Oh, you're booking a murderer. Like, how did that jar you?
Yeah, just irritated, man. Just irritated the fuck out of me. It was terrible, man. It's like, fuck, you don't know. These people, talking all this shit that they don't know the fucking facts. And no one's really going to know the true facts and what really happened. I mean, Jimmy can give you a story of what happened, but no one was there. So
right,
you're going to know what really happened. So at that point,
did you guys get to talk to Snuka towards the end of his life? Because Mike and I were lucky enough. Mike took me to a wrestling event. I got to meet Jimmy right at the end of his life. And, of course, his facilities were very much compromised. He was such a sweetheart, though. I was blown away at how kind he was. So did you guys get to talk to him at all towards the end of his life?
I went and saw him when he got rearrested on the original charges at Allegheny County Jail, but that was it. I just told him, look, Jimmy, I don't know what's coming next for you. Last time we saw each other, it didn't end well. But dude, you could have my bed, dude. I've got a great couch. I'll sleep on that. If you're not allowed to leave the county, let me know and you can stay with me.
Wild Thing, you're kind of beating around the bush. What kind of issues did you have with him that you guys almost went to blows?
He just got drunk and started running this fucking yap too much, and I finally had enough. So I told him, say one more word to me, bet I'm going to knock you the fuck out.
Well,
and then he got quiet for a minute, and then Chris got me out of the room because he's like, oh, you piece of shit. You haven't booked me in 3 fucking years and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, fuck you, Jimmy. I don't know you anything. You're lucky I'm booking you now. And Chris finally gets me outside to walk away, and I'm starting to calm down. And he pokes his head out the door and says, you better be nice to me, brother, if you want this show to still happen tomorrow. And I fucking flipped out and went at him. Chris stopped me, but I was going to murder a legend that night. It was on.
Well, it started off kind of as a joke for a minute. He's like, oh, you motherfucker, you haven't booked me in 3 years. And Rob would be like, Jimmy, you're a book man. I tried to book you. And I did. Yeah, and you did. And the night went on, and of course, more alcohol was consumed. And
that right there is the red button.
don't get Jimmy too drunk.
We got drunk in 3 different counties heading out to Modesto for that show.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
And of course, every time we left a bar, we had to go get a case of St. Pauli's, right?
Yeah, St. Pauli's. And we weren't paying for that. We weren't paying for a lot of drinks. We'd go in these places and they'd be like, "Oh, Jimmy Snuka, you guys are fucking covered." Like,
and that right there is what goes back to Jimmy being a cool guy, I guess me being a scumbag, because I knew that when we got in there, whoever walked up and asked Jimmy for an autograph, he was going to give it to him without even thinking about it. But the manager comes over and he was really excited. So I was like, maybe, you can give us a little bit of a something off the bar tab and he'll fucking sign or take a picture with guys in your kitchen. So they did that. And then Jimmy probably signed 100 autographs in that, what was it, an Applebee's?
it actually was an Applebee's.
That's where we got started. He probably signed 100 autographs. Still, he's signing, drinking, handing it, signing. I mean, Jimmy knew how to fucking drink.
Yeah.
But we also knew that when Jimmy started drinking, he was going to start being a headache eventually and was probably going to fall face first into a bag of Coke.
Think about that, though. Think about that, though. Was there anything better than the Superfly Splash back in the day? You would sit there and just be focused just to see that finishing maneuver,
Fuck you, Chris. It was horrible.
Okay, well, because you took it. I didn't have to take it.
Yeah, well, fuck you, Chris. And he thought it was hilarious when he went straight board on me, dude. He didn't take it off me at all. He just came straight down. And I go, ooh, 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 ooh. He starts laughing. He rubs my face a little bit like some other asshole I know. Okay, brother. Okay there, brother.
The life of a wrestler. Did you guys ever work with Matt Riddle?
I didn't.
Didn't we book him?
We might have booked him. I didn't work him personally though.
Yeah, I think so, but I never wrestled him. But I think we booked him.
Bro.
So we had his girlfriend on last week, ex-girlfriend Danielle Petro on, and I don't know if you watch social media, but
oh no, that's what he was. He was asshole of the year nominee. That's where we're coming with Matt. Yeah. Okay.
Why was he asshole of the year nominee?
For what did he do to his girlfriend? For beating the hell out of his girlfriend and stalking her and all that shit and just being a general psychopath.
Man, guys, did you guys ever train a wrestler or bring someone onto your federation, we'll call it, that ended up being a big star, or you thought was going to be a big star?
We've had John Cena through, but no, we didn't actually particularly train anybody. We had Adam Thorstow and God damn it, Chris, Adam Thorstow and who? Buster. Yeah. Like we've had them through. We had didn't we have what's his fuck Kazarian come by a few times?
Yeah, we had Kazarian, Christopher Daniels.
Yeah, Chris.
Drew,
oh well, but fucking yes. We used him a few times when he was the American Dragon.
Yeah, because he was with APW trainer over there for a bit. He was their head trainer after Modest left, and he took over.
And did you think these guys were going to be big stars to the level they're at, or you just whatever? It doesn't really make a difference.
Seeing it, we knew if he got the opportunity, he was going to go. We knew that.
Yeah.
Sure as I knew that my name's Chris Casanova. I mean, his name's Chris Casanova. We knew that Johnny was going all the way. I've never seen such a genuinely nice person and a genuinely hard worker ever. So everything that Johnny has, he fucking earned it, and good for him. Brian Cage, we used to use him a lot.
Yep.
Why do you think Brian Cage has not like gone further in this business? I look at that guy and I'm like, oh my God, put the belt on this lunatic. He looks like a monster, and he wrestles great, by the way. So,
and he wasn't quite the monster he was back then. But even back then, Brian didn't always make the best business decisions on bookings you should take over the next. And I mean, that's got to be why. Because I think Vince gave him a tryout, but he just didn't want him.
Yeah, I'm puzzled. He's got, right, Mike? He's got the whole look and everything, Cage.
Yeah.
I agree.
Brian's
I agree.
brilliant worker. Brilliant.
God, guys, we went into some crazy wrestling talk here. I didn't expect it to go this way. I'm really impressed by your guys' friendship and your like you guys are business partners and friends. I don't know how long you last that long. Me and Farrell can only take each other for about 3 hours a day. Not even a day, a week. Sorry.
Well, it helps that I live in Florida and he lives in Texas. That's something.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Mike, I have to move to Florida. That's what it is.
I
There
think
it
that's
is.
a secret. So how come you
I'm
guys?
on
How come you guys left California?
It's a sinking ship,
Sinking ship. Too expensive.
always on fire, no water.
What do you guys want to get out of your show? Like, what is your ultimate goal, right? Because first of all, I'm very impressed by the fact you guys were on terrestrial radio, which is pretty cool. I mean, that's where we want to be one day. Not one day. It was a goal to finish up last year to get on terrestrial radio. That is definitely our goal
Terrestrial's
this
a
year.
nightmare, by the way.
How come?
Okay.
Just everybody's breathing down your neck. If you don't hit those fucking commercial spots in the right spot, you're screwed. Getting on like Sirius, like you have a lot more leeway, but going terrestrial status, and fuck terrestrial radio. I'm not. I know when we finally left FM, I was done with terrestrial.
Interesting.
So where do you guys want to go with this show? Like, what's your ultimate goal there?
Well, with what we do with Wrestle Shoot, I mean, we just want to keep increasing the production of what we're doing. We're trying to increase the numbers. Of course, we're going to start hunting sponsors inevitably. But with me and Chris and Creepy Jimmy doing this antisocial network, there's a lot of people, like guys like you, when you were starting off, if we would have seen you with just kind of how, go screw yourselves, your attitude is, we would have gone after you because we're going to be that platform that's not going to be censored. If Facebook gives us shit, we'll fight it as best we can, and then we'll move on to a different platform. We're doing all kinds of things. So the real takeaway here is not just to have your standard, like you might have a sports network who will just be a whole bunch of people talking boring stats and the boring players. A wrestling show where they're just recapping spot for spot what they did on Monday Night Raw. We want somebody to come over to our network and be like, man, I really want to see what all these different, very creative and ingenuitive personalities are doing over here. Not just what's Wrestle Shoot doing over on Antisocial. I just did Jeremiah. He's what Jeremiah. Jeremy's what the Pariah is one of our guys.
The Pariah.
It's a pariah again.
And I just did his show where it was the whole show was a 2-hour show, which surprised me how quickly it flew by. And the whole show was just, he was doing a music bracket and he was just having ICP songs versus each other. And there was 6 people in there. Everybody was casting their votes. And it was fascinating. Like, I didn't get bored the entire time, but there was a couple of really fucking beautiful women who were on there too.
Ooh.
Just saying that helped.
Well,
That does help.
That's a secret there, man.
So, like, when you say where do we want Wrestle Shoot to go, what do you think? What's your thought on that, Chris?
Fuck, man. Man, I'm on the same page as you are, but fuck, I want to get paid as well. Fuck it, pay me, man.
And yeah, we are going to hunt down sponsors. And that's another reason that we're pretty happy with some of these personalities that we're bringing on, like you guys. The numbers for this show are going to spike high, and our numbers since really bringing people on and really getting serious since the first have gone up 3 times. So it seems to be working so far.
Well, you guys got a good product. I enjoy the show. I listen to it when I'm working out and stuff.
Nice.
I try to tell Farrell this all the time because, people don't necessarily want to watch video, right? I'd say about 80% of the people want to hear audio because really to sit down and watch, it's like watching a TV show. In some cases you could watch it, but in a lot of times you just want to hear the audio. But you guys do some very good work, and that's why we said we would come on. And all I can say is this: we don't. Farrell, you could step in, but we don't everybody is competition to us. Every show, no matter how big or small.
Sure.
And I'll be honest with you, we will try to step on anybody without a doubt. We will fucking step on anyone. And if someone gives us, like, let me put it this way, we won't give a rub, right? We will not give it. Look, I'm using terminology again. We will not give a rub. We want to be the best out there. We want to create something that people can go back to, and it will be the same as it was. It's as relevant in 2024 as it was in 2023. That's why there's a lot of shows that do much better than us, right? If you look at the numbers, they do much better.
Yeah, and but they're buying bots to watch their shit.
Yeah,
well,
that's the whole.
Look, you know what? You said about Snooker, you're not there, you don't know. I don't know, but I do know the product they're putting out, and they're talking about a lot of shows talk about what's happening today. And you might want to hear it, right? You might want to know about what happened on AEW last Wednesday. But that will be the one time and the only time you ever watch or listen to that show, right?
Bingo.
Because it's in the moment. We don't want to be in the moment. We want to be different. And that's where I'm just trying to give you your flowers. You guys are different. And that's what I appreciate. I appreciate people that go out of the box and to entertain. And the reality of it, man, is look, we are nobodies. And if we can make a difference in someone's life, one person, and as ridiculous as some people say that is, we do feel this way. We've done something here.
Yeah.
And the reason, again, I don't like certain people is because they think they're better than, and they're not. Just because you stepped in a fucking ring, you're not better than me. You don't know more than me, right? You might be smarter than me.
There are so many guys who had no business being in that ring in the first goddamn place.
Thank you. Thank you. Those are the ones we're talking to.
Yeah.
Not the guys like you who actually paid your fucking dues. You know, try to build companies yourselves and really give it a shot. Not like these clowns who spend 3 weeks working at over in some shithole and now they're getting in the ring. I'm in the business. No, you're not. Get the fuck out of here. You're disrespecting the business by saying you're in the business.
Well, guys like that were definitely me and Chris's favorite snack back when we were tag team. We would just go out there and pick these kids to fucking pieces, but hopefully they learned something from it.
Right. You'd hope, right?
I think, guys, you have to care too, right? You guys talked about you're going to pick up sponsors, you do stuff like that. You've got to want to care about your sponsors. You got to want to care about your audience. And, look, I don't know what else to say, but I wish you guys the best. You're going to do well. But once you do too well, then you become the enemy. So
no shit.
I will make that statement. Once you start, then it's on.
Then we really will be O&A and Stern, won't we?
That's correct.
There
that is correct. I really appreciate the First Lady of Wrestling's comments about us being the Howard Stern of this type of thing. Right now, our ultimate goal, like I said, is to entertain and make a difference and kind of change everything. And you guys do the same, and then we'll meet somewhere in the middle, and then it's on. That's all.
Well, you never know. Wrestle Shoot might take a trip out to fucking Long Island and pay somebody a little visit out there, if you know what I'm saying there, Charlie.
Well, I will tell you this. You guys had some really good stories. I don't know how this thing twisted, but it turned into MMP interviewing you guys. But
yeah, I was going to say something, but I was like, oh, fuck it. It's going well. Let it go.
Dude, I got to tell you, your guys' stories were off the hook. I loved them, man. I love that California shit. I love the stuff with Snuka. I love your guys' comments. I thought it was great. And I loved you guys just talking about being in the industry because, again, you guys are in the industry. We're not. So it's good shit. I love it.
I think that was his roundabout way and then forgot where he was going of inviting us to Long Island.
I think so. Yeah.
You guys could cut. You guys could come anytime. But the one thing I want to make sure that you have to answer this: what side of the fence did Modest play for? What team was he on?
Oh, here we go.
Oh no, Modest didn't like Pee-Pee, but
Yeah.
maybe on his off time.
Who?
But he had a girl.
Yeah, he had a girl. He has a kid, but I mean, maybe he was a switch hitter. I don't know.
No people.
I just, you know, and here's the thing. Like the last time we booked Mike, it was at the same club that we had the last booking with Snook, as a matter of fact. But you know, this guy was Chris's trainer. Chris really wanted to have him on the show. Mike and I never really saw eye to eye, but we never really clashed either. And he comes showing up there, and Chris goes, "Oh, hey, Michael. Hey, Chris." And I say, "How you doing, Mike?" And he goes, "Oh, hi, I'm Mike Modest," and sticks his hand out like we've never met. And I wanted to snatch that fucking little tiny nutsack right off his body, jam it down his bitch ass throat. And I snapped on him. I told him, "Nah, don't walk in that building. Try and walk back to your car, you motherfucker." And he's like, "Oh, Rob, you cut your hair. I recognize you. Fuck you. Come up into my house and try and fade me. Fuck you, Mike." And then Chris intervened and everything got, defused.
Chris, he truly is the wild thing, dude. How do you deal with this guy, man? He seems like he's going crazy on everybody. You got to be in control. What's going on?
Yeah, man.
He's gonna walk into my house and
reel him in, man. I have to fucking say, "Come on back, dude. Just fucking stop, dude. Keep pulling him back."
They're just keeping kayfabe. He's the wild thing, and Casanova's got to be the smooth guy. They're just keeping the kayfabe.
Yeah,
so good.
Working the gimmick, but it's
you
a
guys
lifestyle.
just haven't heard any stories about this one cunt flipping out yet. They're out there. We'll get
It
to those
happens,
next time.
Too much alcohol.
Holy shit, we really gone an hour and a half.
Yeah, we're over.
Wow.
But
All right.
we're gonna head out. We want to thank you guys. What a pleasure it was to be on the show. And sorry, I said some bad stuff about you guys in California. I'm sorry about that.
It was some real shit, man. So we appreciate it.
I'm gonna serve you pro boner.
So guys, plug everything. Plug everywhere everybody can find you guys. I really recommend our people. Man, follow these dudes. Their show is hot. It's cool. They got a cool set. Eventually, Mr. Casanova is moving here to Florida, and we're going to be borrowing a page right out of your book and creating a set for ourselves.
Beautiful, beautiful. Farrell, you got this one. Go ahead, brother.
I do not have the plugging away, Mike. Plug away, Mike. That's you, baby. Go.
Jesus
Chris,
Christ.
plug
Talking
them.
too much.
It's what you do every week on the show. Now you want me to do
All right,
the
Long
plug?
Island's #1 pro wrestler broadcast can be seen on the Monty DeFaro YouTube page, the Monty DeFaro Facebook Live page, the Monty DeFaro Twitch TV page, and if you're lucky enough to live in New York, catch us on New York Cable on channel 115 on Tuesdays at 7:30 and on Wednesdays on channel 20 at 9 p.m. and 11:30 a.m. channel 115. We're on all audio networks everywhere you can look at. And if you want sponsorship by all the way, go to the Monty and the Pharaoh webpage. That's Monty and the Pharaoh, where many of our sponsors lie. We've got so many sponsors. Keep joining us. Be part of the Monty and the Pharaoh family. And the return on investment, the ROI for all our sponsors is within 3 months. And we've got a 99% retention rate. This Saturday, we've got Enzo Amore in studio at 10 a.m.
Is that
and then
right?
we get to interview the super agent Eric Sims. Thursday show's not quite booked yet. There's a couple of things I got cooking in the deal, and then we've got Chris Adonis, or formerly Chris Masters, in studio on February 4th, where Pharaoh is going to take the Master Lock Challenge. Where people are donating to St. Jude's Hospital if the Pharaoh can get out of the Master Lock Challenge.
Yeah, don't say no, you little prick. Do it for the kids.
Hey, first of all, I have a big prick. Second of all, it's my neck, Wild Thing.
That's right.
Second of all,
Man up. Do it for the children. Won't somebody
you're right.
think
You're right.
about the
You're
children?
right. Look. When you're right, you're right. No, you're right. You know, the second he said St. Jude, I'm like, oh Jesus, I'm screwed. Damn it.
But again, we are, I'll end it with this. We are humbled to be able to come into everybody's living rooms, whichever way you choose to take us. every Thursday, and we are humbled to be part of the Wrestle Shoot programming that we're on today. These guys are the real deal. Very enjoyable. And how do I put it? They're definitely a force to be reckoned with. So join them.
Good looking too.
Well, I got to tell you, Wild Thing, I've always been a big fan, but I think I'm going with Casanova now. Now that I've been watching the guy, he's a pretty good looking guy. I got to go there.
Chris, come on, give us some pouty kiss lips. Come on, sweetie.
No, I'm good, man. I'm just gonna stick with the glasses, man.
Hey, do what the people want.
How about a little? There you go.
Oh, there you go. But again, I want to thank you guys. What an honor and privilege to be on the show. And
we're gonna have to do it again. We love you guys now. It's a romantic kind of love. Just so you know.
Listen, it's like I said, I'm not cheap, but I'll go any which way we gotta go.
Oh, for God's sake.
All right, $20. I can go 40. All right, guys. Look, we usually keep it an hour. We're at an hour and a half, so we're gonna let you guys who have been sticking with us and writing and commenting and shit go on about your business. But before we let you go, I would like to send out one really important reminder. Fuck Ron Shaw.
Go with it. Fuck
Nice
you, Ron
pitch.
Shaw.
Ron Shaw, you, sir, are the crybaby of the year, and we know you're a woman because it says it's a girl right there. Go fuck yourself. You has been some bitch, unmemorable prick. And on that note, for myself, for Chris Casanova, for Monty and the Pariah.
Thank you.
It's starting to stick, right? You're starting to like it, aren't you?
Yeah, well, you don't think your shoe fits well, throw it out the window. But go ahead.
All right, guys. We're going to see y'all next week. We don't know who the fuck is going to be here. Half the time we never do. But when we figure something out, we might let you know. But then we might not. Later.
See ya.